I'm Ola Landgren. I'm professor of medicine, and I lead the myeloma program at the University of Miami in Miami, Florida. I'm here in Orlando at ASH 2025. We have several presentations during the meeting. I wanted to talk a little bit about our REVIVE study. That is a phase 2 study that targets patients with high-risk smoldering myeloma. We, for a long time, have believed in the field that the right way to handle patients with smoldering myeloma was just to do watch and wait and monitor and see what happens. But the FDA approved for the very first time in November of 2025 a treatment for patients with high-risk smoldering myeloma. So this is a big change in the field. That drug is daratumumab. It's approved as a single drug, and I've been involved in this for a very long time. I was, in fact, the lead investigator for the Centaurus trial. That was the first study that explored daratumumab in this setting, and then that led to the Aquila trial, and I was the chairman for the independent data monitoring committee for all the years evaluating all the safety for the Aquila trial. So I followed the field for a very long time, and I also worked on many other studies using therapy for patients with high-risk smoldering myeloma. So I wanted to see if we could leverage and maybe use the bispecific antibodies in addition to daratumumab in this space. And my rationale was that daratumumab can prevent progression at a very high rate, and that is why the FDA approved it. It's about 50% reduction in progression-free survival, which is amazing compared to no therapy at all. But if you look at the details, it's only 8 or 9% of patients that achieve a complete response or a remission. So I was wondering if we added bispecific antibody, could we even see MRD negativity? And we have worked on that for a very long time, and I pushed for this for the FDA for many, many years, and it led to the FDA endorsing MRD as an early endpoint for drug approval. So using the combination with teclistamab with daratumumab in high-risk smoldering myeloma is what the REVIVE study is doing. So we give the two drugs once a week, the first cycle, and thereafter we give once a month dosing of these two drugs, which is very feasible, and we give it up to 24 cycles. Patients, they get a single dose of tocilizumab before the very first dose of cycle 1. So what we see is that in the first, we have treated up to 25 patients in the first dose cohort. We have 100% MRD negativity, 10 to minus 6. There is no detectable disease with any measure we can use. And with tocilizumab given a single dose before, we have 0 of the patients having CRS or cytokine release syndrome. There was no toxicity for that. We also see no ICANS. What we do see is that virtually every patient will drop in the IgG, and they will need intravenous immunoglobulin G. So IVIG will have to be given once a month to the patients. And we also have to keep patients on antibiotic and antiviral prophylaxis per standard. The study, as I mentioned, has 24 cycles total. And after that, the study stops and the treatment stops. And we will do bone marrow biopsy. We will confirm that the MRD that we see early on is also sustained. The study also calls for MRD testing once a year for up to 5 years after completion of the study. So really the hypothesis we want to test is if you give this very effective treatment and you can achieve such high rates of MRD negativity and then stop the treatment, could this potentially be a curative treatment? And can we document that up to 5 years after? And we have, of course, a lot of correlative science. We are looking into many, many markers of disease and immune system as part of this investigation. Lastly, I want to say that the same regimen with teclistamab and daratumumab is presented here at ASH as a late-breaking abstract in the setting of 1 to 3 prior lines of therapy. So in relapse refractory patients, extremely high rates of patients achieve MRD negativity, and also compared to the standard of care arm in a randomized study, the Majestic 3 study, the hazard ratio is 0.17, so highly supportive of teclistamab daratumumab in this setting. And also the curves for PFS look extremely promising, with high rates of patients sustaining no detectable disease years out in the relapse refractory setting. This is a continuous treatment, so I am very hopeful that our study that will stop therapy after monthly dosing for up to 24 months potentially could be a cure for some patients. I'm very excited about that.
If our videos have helped you in any way and you're able to, please consider making a donation to help us continue this important work.
Your gift will go 3 times as far when we reach $500,000 by the end of the year.
Every contribution, big or small, makes a difference, and we're deeply grateful for your support.